Okay, it is 5:00 p.m. on Tuesday, May 26, 2026. We will call the Board of Works and Safety meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Weigel.
Here.
Smith. Here. Daniel.
Here. In front of you have the minutes from our last meeting on May 12th. Are there any changes or corrections?
I didn't have any.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we pass the minutes from the last meeting for
May 12th.
Which
May
one?
12th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, July, May 12th.
I'll second.
Motion seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor show by the usual sign. It is unanimous. Next up, we'll open up the floor for any public comment. Anybody want to give public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment period. Next up, we have an encroachment agreement for, let me find the address real quick here, 217 West Longfellow. Okay, come on up. Need your name and address, please. Hi, Marcia. Name and address, please.
Lawrence Smith, 217 West Longfellow Boulevard, Columbia
Okay.
City.
And looks like you're wanting to do a 6-foot tall fence?
Yep.
Okay. And I think the question I had on the map here is, it looks like you're gonna go, I'm gonna get directions wrong, so I'm gonna go up. So you go up the property line, go down the property line, and then the question I guess I have is, it looks like the line goes all the way to the back property line, but then I think it actually goes 15 feet in from the property line. Does that make sense what I'm asking? Come on up, let me show you what I mean.
I was trying to imagine.
I look at it,
So-
it looks like he's on the inside of the easement.
So you go across, oops, okay, go across, you go down. So my question is, are you stopping here or are you going clear down? Because you're stopping here, okay. So that's, is that 15 foot back or whatever that is? Looks like a 15 foot.
Looks like he's inside the property, or the easement.
Well, on this side, you'll be right on the property line, right?
The black's the property.
Oh, the black, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. The black is the property line, the easement is, the blue is the easement.
So it looks like I'm on the easement here,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go along this additional.
Yep.
every line.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going down the house.
Just going to that corner, okay. So,
Yeah.
so I guess, thank you.
I
So,
thought that's what the blue
no,
was.
no, I think that's I think that's this common area. And here's why, I'm sorry, I think I mistake.
Oh, I see.
Because see,
I see that
the
black
green
line.
is the, yes. So really what you're looking, I'm sorry, we're all over the board here. So I think this is either common area or something here, because I think you're right, the blue line is your property line. And so the green is your easement line, so it's within the easement there. Does that make sense? So I think that's so it's really only on the, I guess that'd be the north side or the east side, I'm not sure which way it is. It's kind of weirdly shaped, so northeast?
So that's not an easement. I thought that was an easement.
No, I think that's, hold on a second.
It seems
I'll
weird
pull up
that
the-
all the black lines are property lines.
Yeah, I'll pull that up real quick and hopefully I can get the answer.
Because it doesn't, the building lines, because otherwise the house is right up against the easement.
So we were renting it, it doesn't make any sense, but that's the way it is.
Because it says a 10-foot easement on each side, like you say, unless there is a common area. That don't make sense.
No, that, it is common area. It's owned by the Chesapeake Community Association there. That's that area, that's that strip that's in between you and your neighbor. So that's why that fence is inside our utility easement, if that makes sense. So, okay, cool. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's good. So because that's helpful for me, because I looked at that and I saw the map, I think how you saw it, so, in any case. Okay, so on that, 217 West Longfellow, utilities, do we have any problems with being in the utilities or anything like that? No?
Sanitary's across the road.
Okay.
Water's out in front.
Water's out in front, okay. So the
There
only,
is a couple sewer lines that, or storm sewer lines that go through, just if you call them locates.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'll see them, and you should be good.
yeah.
so
They
the
go
only
back to
thing
that wet area behind you.
so the only thing we usually tell people is if for some reason we do have to access the easement, We will try to notify you if we can, if it's an emergency. Again, we'll try to notify you, but if we have to take the fence down, we'll try to do it as gently, but it's on you
Yeah.
to replace it.
Absolutely.
Any other questions, comments, thoughts? Do you have any questions of us?
Nope, that'll do it.
Okay, then I'll make a motion, we approve the encroachment agreement for 217 West Longfellow Boulevard as presented.
I'll second.
Motion and seconded. Full further discussion? All those in favor show the usual sign. It is unanimous. So,
This will be sent back over to the planning and building department.
Okay.
Where you applied for this, in the morning, so by noon, you could go over
Okay.
and meet with them and fill out the rest of the paperwork or whenever you get time. But they'll have everything ready for you by
Okay.
noon tomorrow.
Thank you.
okay,
Yep.
thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in. Okay, we're gonna skip ahead because we have some guests, so we'll go ahead and go to the ordinance violation appeal. Mr. Potter, come on up. Go ahead and tell us what you are appealing.
Okay, so I'm appealing the, papers here. The violation tickets for the citation one for tall grass, which is under 95.020, and then citation 2 parking, which is under 71.06.
Okay? And what are the grounds for the appeal? Meaning
Okay.
why are you appealing? Go ahead.
So the ticket for the no parking was under 71.06. The only one that makes sense, at least from I found, for the violation is under subsection C. So the person may not stop, stand, or park a motor vehicle in any of the following places: on sidewalk, on grass. My utility trailer is currently parked on my grass in my yard. If you look at it though, directly, it clearly says motor vehicle, and under Indiana Code 9-13-2-105, which is a traffic violations and stuff like that, it labels a motor vehicle means, except as otherwise provided in this section, a vehicle that is self-propelled. This term does not include a farm tractor, an implement of agriculture designed to be operated primarily in a farm, an electric bicycle, or a foot motor, or subsection B, motor vehicle as purposes of IC 9-21 means a vehicle that is self-propelled or a vehicle that is propelled by an electric power obtained by overhead trolley lines. So and my understanding is under that violation that I was written up for, my utility trailer does not have a motor, it is not self-propelled. So I don't see how that I could be in violation of that when it clearly states motor vehicle, and like I said, under Indiana traffic violations, it defines a motor vehicle as being self-propelled.
Okay, so that's for the no parking violation.
Yes.
What about the high grass violation?
Okay, so the high grass violation, let me pull it up real quick. Okay, so under high grass violation, it says on subsection E, in the event of a violation herein, the Board of Public Works or Safety shall notify the owner of the real estate that the board has determined a violation exists on the owner's real estate. Notice shall be sent by certified mail, return receipt requested, or an equivalent service, so like FedEx, UPS, stuff like that. The only way that I receive the violation is a piece of mail sitting on my doorknob. So under that understanding of with that is not a certified mail, that is just dropping it on my doorstep. So that is a violation of like how I'm supposed to receive the violation.
Okay. Is there any other reason for your appealing any of those others?
No.
Obviously, I'm gonna give
Yes.
Scott the opportunity, so
Absolutely.
I just wanna make sure I have your case, if you will, clear then.
Nope, those are the only reasons I have.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and have a seat, and we'll have our code enforcement officer come on up and explain the violation of itself, as well as address Mr. Potter's concerns, if you would.
Okay, so Scott Leatherman, Code Enforcement Coordinator. So on May 7th, at the property, I was in the area, noticed tall grass, and the vehicle that he's describing was actually in violation of 7122 at that time, parked in a side yard under uncontrolled parking. I gave him 10 days and delivered the notice in accordance of 71171, which talks about the way that services must, which the ordinance states, delivery must be made. It can be made by certified mail. It can be made in person by a person of the government entity. So it was delivered in person to the residence by a person from the government entity. That was me. I delivered it to the front door.
And you said that was ordinance what?
That state which ordinance are you talking
Well,
about? The state statute is
state statute.
1171, which is listed in the report.
Okay.
It's what the ordinance requires, that when you make certified delivery, it states certified mail or equivalent service, or in a subsection, it is by a person from the entity, the government entity. It's specifically under subsection 1, it says service by postal service, designated private delivery service that tracks mail, or subsection 2, delivery by an employee of the unit of government sending the notice to comply with the statute or rule, is how the Indiana Supreme Court rules for delivery, and our ordinance specifically uses that statute for proper delivery. So you can send it by certified mail or registered delivery service, or an agent of the government entity can deliver it. So I delivered it personally to that address. And it goes on further to say you can attach it to the front of the building. Leave a copy of the notice or matter at the dwelling, house, or usual place, abode of the person to whom which the notice or other matter was given. And Mr. Potter's address is the one listed in GIS. So I delivered to the address and address to him. It was left in a mail hanger at the front door.
Okay, do you want to address the vehicular part?
So, the ordinance does say motor vehicle, and our ordinance describes a vehicle. Let me get to what it exactly describes it as. Here, let's see. Vehicle. Any device in which or by which any person or property is or may be transported on a highway, including but not limited to mobile campers, boats, motorcycles, mopeds, trailers, wagons, or any vehicle designed for this conveyance of persons, property, or animals. However, this term does not include bicycles.
Any questions of Scott?
Are we talking about the boats that's sitting there?
We're talking about cargo trailer. So originally when I went out, on a parking violation, you're not required to abate it at all. There's no notice required to be given. You can issue a parking ticket immediately upon that. It was originally in violation of, in my opinion, both 7106 and 7122, which is uncontrolled parking, which is front and side yards on corner lots. That says you can't park in the grass on those. It was in the side yard for quite a long time. After I gave him the notice, or delivered the notice, he moved it to the backyard and unloaded it. So it was technically in the backyard, but it was still in the grass.
Was there a reason you chose to write a 71.06 versus 71.22?
Because I gave him a 10-day notice, so
Okay.
consideration to move it, and then he moved it to the backyard, which then it's not in violation of 71.22 because it was no longer in the front or side yard, but it was still parked in grass. And then the boat, you're talking about, that's on an approved space. It's just that it doesn't have a plate on it, so that falls under the junk vehicle thing, which he was given a warning for. The grass was over 8 inches tall when I originally went there. Over the entire yard, he mowed portions of it, but the area between the curb and or the sidewalk and the street is still not mowed, and there's areas around the trailer where the trailer sits now that are over 8 inches tall. It was a visual estimate because I couldn't go onto his property to measure by the trailer, but pictures show how tall it is if you zoom in on the cargo trailer. And it's still in the same condition as today as it was on the 21st.
I did drive out there this afternoon to take a look at this to make sure I knew what I was talking about too.
Yeah.
I saw the problems
So
over there.
the trailer may not be in violation, but it currently doesn't have a plate visible. So under our ordinance, it's not, you have to make the assumption that it's not registered. When I talked to Mr. Potter, he said it's in fact registered, but he just doesn't have the plate on it. And then it has a tarp, as part of the other things, it has a tarp over it, which is collecting water, which then allows it to become stagnant. And
Right.
so that's an issue.
And I know the pictures look a lot like what I saw this afternoon. when I drove
Yeah.
out there.
So, that's all I have on what he'd said, that the grass is still over, and the delivery issue was in accordance with our ordinance and state statute under 1171, for personal delivery by a government agent, and can be posted on the house.
Any other questions, Scott? Okay, thank you, Scott. Mr. Potter, I'll give you a last word here.
Okay. So, Scott said that under Columbia City ordinance, was it a vehicle or did it say motor
It's a
vehicle?
vehicle.
Okay.
That's in the parking ordinance.
Okay. So his said vehicle. The ordinance clearly says motor vehicle, which is different than a vehicle. And there's other ordinances that say under the 91.0, the other first one that he mentioned for the parking on the side yard, that was breaking, that clearly states vehicle. So there is a distinction between motor vehicle and vehicle. And under 71.06, it clearly labels motor vehicle. And like I said, a utility trailer is not a motor vehicle. And then for the grass one, yes, if you look at Indiana Code, where'd it go? Yes. If you look at Indiana Code, for that, Indiana Code 1-1-71 on subsection A, it says that that requires the notice other than like requires a signature delivery upon employee of the unit of government sending by notice. But if you look at 95.020 subsection E, notice of violation, it says certified mail, return receipt requested or an equivalent service permitted under Indiana Code 1-1-7-1B, not A. Under B, it says if. So if means of giving notice is not covered by rules adopted by the Supreme Court, or if a notice or other matter sent as prescribed in subsection A is returned undelivered. But it clearly labels B first, and it clearly labels that it shall be sent, which means must be sent by certified mail first, and it's subsection B, not A. So which clearly says that it should be given by certified mail first before it gives any other alternative.
I'm just gonna be honest with you, I think you're pushing it. That's just my honest opinion, but I'd defer to our attorney to see if there's an actual wording between vehicle and motor vehicle. If there's a difference, I personally think you're pushing it with that. That's just my opinion. But I just want to defer to our attorney to see if.
Yeah, I think since you're the ones making the decision, you need to be listening to the arguments on this case. You're the jury here. I hate to do that to you, Dan, but
Okay.
yeah,
Well, that's-
here I think you need to listen to them both and
Okay,
make those
because like I
decisions.
say, vehicle to me is, just because it doesn't have a motor on it, doesn't mean it's still a vehicle.
No, and
Right.
I agree, but like I said, it clearly states motor vehicle, and there's other ordinances in Columbia City, like the one, like the other one, the .022 or whatever, the other parking in the side yard, that clearly states vehicle in it, and this one clearly states motor vehicle, and there is a difference in those.
How about saying that's an opinion?
Well, under Indiana code, it clearly labels a motor vehicle as something with a motor that is powered or that's powered by overhead trolley lines. And there is a different definition for vehicle.
Well, I will be honest with you, after driving by your property, I think there's other violations there that could be brought to rough over. It needs, I'm just to be honest with you, it needs to get cleaned up. You need to clean up the property. And that's, you know, if you need help with that, give me a call. But otherwise, it needs to be cleaned up. The violations, I personally have to support Scott on this. I think you're pushing the wording. You're stretching it out, in my opinion. That's just me though, okay?
Okay, I get that, but like I said, Indiana code clearly labels motor vehicle as different than a vehicle. And his wording clearly says vehicle, and like I said, Columbia City ordinances have different things, different codes that say vehicle versus motor vehicle. So if there's a difference, why is there a difference in wording if they're the same thing?
Well, like I said, I respect your opinion, as long as you respect mine. How's
Yes,
that?
I do.
So, a couple of things. I'm doing a big deep dive into Indiana code right now. So, so I guess a couple of thoughts, first of all. I mean, I think the certified mail, the state statute does give the ability for, let me do, quote, delivery by an employee of the unit of government sending the notice. So we do have the ability to give that registration, or give that certified mail, if you will, giving the mail upon, like, by the employee. We do have that under 1171, under subsection A1, A2, I think is what it has there, as I'm reading the Indiana code here. As for motor vehicles, let me go back to my thing here. So I think ultimately, I mean, I would concur in the fact that from the grass side, to me, again, I think based on what I'm reading in Indiana code, that it is, he can serve in that regard. So I wouldn't be in favor of waiving the high grass piece. As for the parking issue, I do think that there's, I think at least to a certain extent, I think cleaning up the language would stop potential confusion, if you will. But I'm still working on a couple of things here to figure out Indiana code, because the code citation that you were showing me, Leslie, is, it says it's repeal. But Scott, where did you pull the definition of motor vehicle or vehicle again? I'm sorry.
Well, so under the top of 71 definitions. there's
71 of our ordinance?
71.01, which is the one that's applicable, since
Yeah.
I'm not enforcing the Indiana statute, I'm enforcing.
Yeah.
And this is what it says a vehicle is. It doesn't have a definition of motor vehicle under the parking code.
Mm-hmm.
It says any device in which any person or property is or may be transported on a highway except a device that is separated by rails or tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's under 7101 under definitions. And then it further describes vehicle, but no motor vehicle description in the parking ordinance.
Yes.
So,
And then under delivery, I went to the address, nobody answered.
sure. Okay,
So
well, and
that's-
again,
So nobody answered, so that is failure.
well, by Indiana code, I agree with you, so the delivery piece, that's not as big of a deal for me. For me, it's more of the motor vehicle versus vehicle piece, which, again, at the end of the day, if we don't have it specified, like, I think personally, if I were to look at it, I would say a vehicle is a vehicle is a vehicle, right? But I understand why there would be some confusion about motor vehicle versus a vehicle.
To me, a vehicle is a mode of transportation. whether it's got a motor in it or not. I mean, a vehicle could be a bicycle.
What is that?
So a vehicle, to me, I always refer to my car as a vehicle. Doesn't matter if it's got a motor in it or doesn't got a motor. It's a way of motor transportation. And so that's how I look at it. I don't think we need to complicate the thing any more than necessary. That's how I look at a vehicle.
Section is repealed. So that's what I'm saying.
Motor transportation.
So you go to chapter 13. You go to motor vehicle down here. Down to 13, 15.
So in many situations, trailers and semi-trailers are considered motor vehicles for Indiana statute. Just, it depends on the application. So,
Includes the semi-trailer. Hold on a second, we're reading through state statutes, so give me a moment here. I just want to make sure that I have a clear definition myself.
I got a question real quick.
Sure.
Okay, so obviously we're dealing with violation 71.06. Says not in any of the following places, sidewalk or grass, right? Grass, and under 71.22, which like I said, it says vehicles. It says unlawful to park like a vehicle in the front or side yard, which is originally was on violation of, but that's not what the ticket is for. So I just have a, like, if it's labeled as not in the front or side yard of the street, right, if I'm not allowed, like, why is, it just seems redundant to me when it says grass or front or side, because like you have driveways, right, you're allowed to park on your driveway even if it's in the front yard.
Sure.
So why is there the two different distinctions? Because if it's in your side yard, there's obviously going to be grass there. And so I just feel like there's two different things, and they're labeled two very different ways.
Yeah.
This one clearly says vehicles, the other one clearly says motor vehicles.
Sure, sure. So I'm gonna answer in a way that you're probably not gonna be happy with, and that is that is a city council question, because they're the ones that write the ordinances.
Okay.
They're the ones that pass the ordinances. We just enforce them
Okay.
as we interpret, if you will. With that being said, I think ultimately the goal of the ordinances, and that is just I am talking, but the goal of the ordinances is to try to keep kind of some order so that we don't have, because I know there's other places in the city that Scott's been working on that has lots of vehicles that are just stacking up in
Yes.
places, right? And so it's kind of a bit of a whack-a-mole situation, if you will. So that's the best answer I can give you
Okay.
right now. And then in the actual definitions, if you will, under 913.2.105, section C, it does say motor vehicle for purposes of Indiana Code 932 includes a semi-trailer, trailer, an off-road vehicle, snowmobile, mini truck, manufactured home, etc. And so then if you go to 932 is dealer services, meaning it says, damage to new motor vehicles, boat dealers, dealer license plates, etc., etc. So I guess my point is that even in the state code also shows different definitions of motor vehicle. So what I'm taking away from this is that we need to tighten up our code a little bit to make it more clear what is a vehicle and what is a motor vehicle. I would say though, from a historical precedent, we have treated trailers, boats, etc. as vehicles. So that would be my recommendation would be, I hear what you're saying, and I think we will, one thing to the council would be maybe we need to clean up that language. I know Marshall works a lot on that, on some of those language pieces, and maybe just clarifying that based on, how we treat it, if you will. But to me, I'll just, again, I actually agree with Dan a lot, is that, I think that the challenge is the state of the property, if you will, and I think we want to encourage you to get that cleaned up and encourage you, obviously, to be a good neighbor and all that stuff, because those kind of things do affect property values and they do affect the feeling of the neighborhood, which is the whole purpose of why we do the ordinances that we do, right? And so that's kind of where I'm at. Lisa, I don't know if you're
I'm in
where you're at.
agreement.
without the definitions, I still think it brings down the property. It's sitting on the grass. The grass is tall.
Yes, I agree, and I agree that there's other violations that I'm breaking that I need to fix. I absolutely agree with that but that is not the reason I am here for the other violation. I am here for these 2 violations, and you guys have seemed like agreed upon the tall grass. I'm not going to win that. I'm completely okay with that. I'm just more in the motor vehicle sense of the 71.06. That is the one right now that I guess I am more concerned about because, like I said, on the ordinances, definitions, it labels vehicle. There's different wording for vehicle and vehicle in it and everything. And if there's different wording and Mayor Ryan Daniel said, the wording needs to be tightened up, I don't see how that right now with the wording different and it clearly says motor vehicle under the violation I'm in violation of. If the wording is fixed, fine, that's fine. But right now it's not, so I don't see how right now since it's not how I am, how that's affecting me right now. It's not.
The state, what Ryan just read with the state, it makes sense that what we've done is the right thing to do. I mean, it's all over the place.
Historical.
I mean, the state's makes it as goofy as it is. It really does. But even if we follow the state statute, we're still in compliance with what we're complaining about.
Yes, for dealer. But my trailer is not at a dealer. It's not being sold by a dealer. It's not at a dealer. It hasn't been a dealer for many, many, many years. I think it was originally a Harbor Freight trailer, which again is not a dealer. So that so under the what Mayor Ryan said 9-32, it clearly labels as a dealer thing. I am not a dealer. My trailer is not at a dealer. It wasn't being sold. I didn't buy it from a dealer or anything. It is not at a dealer. So I don't see how that under being the dealer option is regarded for me.
Well, so so your trailer, you said is not, wait, let me back up. The trailer is not plated.
The utility trailer is.
The utility trailer is plated.
Yes, that is the one we're fighting on right now.
So what is not plated?
The boat trailer.
The boat trailer.
That's on the pad.
Okay, so we're
He
talking
says
about
it's
utility
plated,
trailer.
he told me that his plate, he just didn't have it on there.
Gotcha.
So
Utility
from my observation point, it was considered junk because it didn't have a display plate. And he got a note to say, hey, just get the plate on there, or get it registered, which if he had it registered, he could have put the plate on, but he was busy.
Yes, I agree with that, but again, that is not the reason I'm here for. I'm not here for that violation.
So originally, when I gave the first the notice, which on parking ordinance, we don't have to give the notices. There's no abatement.
Yeah.
It's an immediate
Right.
for every day.
Right.
It's a violation. It was both. It was 7122 for parking the side yard and the front yard, and he makes the argument that it's not a motor vehicle, and the statute says that, under certain circumstances, their definition of motor vehicle includes trailers and semi-trailers. We don't have a definition, right? We just have vehicles, which includes trailers.
Yeah.
That he was in violation of 7106 also. He moved the trailer in the 10 days to the backyard, which was no longer in violation of 7122.
Yeah.
It's a lesser offense. 7122 is a $50 fine
Yeah.
versus a $10 fine.
Yeah.
So I gave him warning for the other stuff, and I cited him for the trailer in the backyard and the car.
Gotcha.
So it just comes under the decision of whether you believe our definition of vehicle fits our definition of motor vehicle, since we don't have a definition. We should refer to the state, so
Yeah.
you have to decide whether state motor vehicle definition
Yeah.
covers our vehicle, or if we need to amend our, or if we carry trailers that park in grass in backyard.
So, I guess where I'm kind of landing on this is, so again, past precedent is we've treated trailers or vehicles as motor vehicles. We have seen those as one and the same. With that being said, I can see Mr. Potter's point of saying the state defines motor vehicles versus vehicles, right? So, so I guess what I would like to do, this is me personally, you guys can do something different. What I'd like to do is I'd like to uphold the high grass violation, because I think we've all decided that that's true. And I think what I'd like to do is maybe vacate the trailers and give a recommendation to the city council to tighten up the wording of that, because I think the last time that wording was updated was like 86. But again, from a past precedent standpoint, we've held that vehicles are motor vehicles, so just to be very candid with you, I'm kind of on the fence about it. Obviously, it sounds like he's taking responsibility for a lot of the violations that are there. He understands that there's things that has to be cleaned up. Obviously, Scott has wrote many different things for this property that it sounds like Mr. Potter knows he needs to clean up, and he's going to work on it and being a good resident of that neighborhood. But I'm really a coin flip, to be honest with y'all.
Well, for me, I'm really impressed with how you wrote down and looked all this stuff up. That's impressive.
Thank you.
It is. But I'm still, I still think a vehicle, whether it's got a motor in it or it doesn't have a motor in it, it's a vehicle. Whether it's a bicycle or if it's a car, it's a way of transportation. So that's how I look at it.
Question on that one. If you view as a vehicle, bicycle, trailer, car, stuff like that, and if you view it that way, then under that understanding, then I'm not allowed to have my bicycle in my grass. Do you see what I'm saying?
This is where I get aggravated with a lot of people for wanting to just stretch crap out. That's to me, it's ridiculous thinking.
No,
Just gonna be honest with you.
I can see that.
It doesn't make sense. Common sense goes a long way with me, and that doesn't, okay? I think you're just stretching stuff out to be ridiculous, and I think that's what's happening here.
No.
So, for me, I'm sticking with the vehicle being,
Are you, can I ask a question as far as, are you
Yeah.
planning to keep the trailer there?
If I am not in current violation, I don't see any issue why I cannot. As long as I keep the grass mowed below it and keep a nice little spot, I don't see any reason if I am not in violation of that code why I cannot keep my trailer up against my house in my backyard.
So even after, if city council, like,
Changes the ordinance.
Yes, if the city, if the city council changes the ordinance, I will move my trailer. But up until then, if it is labeled as motor vehicle, and like I agree, Columbia City labels a vehicle, but it doesn't have a definition for motor vehicle. So I view it, and I could be wrong, but if Columbia City doesn't have it, the next thing for us it would be the state. And so if the state has a definition for that, and like I don't see how like I'm in violation of that again. And I agree with you saying like common sense thing, right? But it seems like the vehicle is more like you're taking it more of like a interpretation thing. If you as a person label it as a bicycle, trailer, car, stuff like that, like I agree, it's a common sense thing, right? But you can take that as a whole and say like I can say like a car with no motor isn't a motor vehicle, right? And that's just a vehicle, but it still is at the end of the day, like it's still like it's supposed to be powered by a motor. Like there's a bunch of different things under that you're just taking it. I feel like it's more taken under interpretation rather than by the stature of the law.
I'm in agreement to, at this point, keep the $50 for the tall grass. I'm willing to look past the $10 one because you've made a good point, but knowing that city council is most likely going to tighten up our language and it will be in violation once that happens, just so you're aware.
Okay, I am completely okay with that, and when that changes, I will move my trailer.
Okay. That's kind of where I stand on it.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and make the motion that we uphold the high grass violation, that we waive the 71.06 violation for no parking, and and obviously on the word that Mr.
Mhm.
Potter's gonna continue to work on cleaning up his property. That's my motion.
I'm in agreement. I will second that.
Okay, motion and second. Further discussion? All those in favor show the usual sign, and those opposed? 2-1 vote. So again, grass is upheld, parking is waived for now, or waived. Just understand that I'm very confident the council will change that. So
Okay.
gives you time to figure out
Yes.
where to put that trailer.
Yes.
Okay.
I do have one more question on all this though.
Yes, sir.
So the ordinances, are they for the whole of Columbia City as a whole?
All within the city limits. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I do have a question on that though.
Yes.
If I am not allowed to park my trailer, my one trailer on it, right? Okay, like when it changes, right, or a motor vehicle, I have a, like, this is me trying to get understanding. There's a car dealership right next to the old Walgreens that has 30 vehicles parked in the grass, and I personally don't see the difference in that because I understand that's labeled, that's commercial, my house is
Different
residential,
zoning. Uh-huh.
different zoning, right? But it's still, I view it as, it's still Columbia City as a whole, and that place, you could tell, used to be a house, like all the utilities are the same, everything else. So I just don't personally see the difference when there's like 30, 40 vehicles.
Sure.
That's gonna put a lot more pressure on the ground than my one trailer I can pull around by myself.
Understand that. And my suggestion would be is that if you have things that you would like to have addressed by the city council, that you contact your city council members, and work with them on the changes and your points of view there.
I will tell you, I've seen some other places that park on the grass. I got a warning myself. I just had to park my truck on the grass.
Yeah.
And I got a warning on that myself, so that was a few years back that I had to move it. So I get what you're saying, 'cause
Yes.
I got a pet, I have a rule too.
And I would also mention that while we try to be proactive, there is a lot of reactiveness, meaning that when individuals call in with a violation, we have to go investigate that,
Okay.
right? So while I think it's one of those where as we're traveling around, if we see an issue, we'll try to take care of it. I understand that there's probably a lot of them that are in process, but the other part of that is that when someone calls it in, like, we have to address it, right?
Okay.
So I guess that would be maybe my concluding thought for you is if you keep working on it, then I think we're willing to work with you, but keep showing progress.
Okay.
Okay?
I can do that.
Great, thank you for being here.
Yep, thank you.
Appreciate it, thank you, Scott, appreciate it. Okay, next up is the notice of award. We're gonna go back to item number 4, notice of award for phase 3 of Westgate. And that is to Fleming Excavating. Their contract price was $1,690,506.32. That was the low bid. Our engineering firm, A&Z Engineering, did look through all the bid documents and found that they were in compliance. They follow all the rules, and that they are the certified low bidder for Westgate Phase 3. So with that, can I have a motion to approve the notice of award to Fleming Excavating for the contract price of $1,690,506.32?
A second, sorry. I thought he made the motion, sorry.
No, yes.
I'll second that.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign. It is unanimous. Do we also need to do the agreement? Do you remember?
I believe that's all we have to do to get going.
The agreement,
Yes.
Mark said we could sign that at the same, so yes, we do.
So yes,
Approve
Oh,
approve
sorry.
the agreement, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so in front of you is the agreement between us and Fleming Excavating regarding the Westgate Subdivision Roadway Reconstruction Phase 3 project. Again, it's the standard agreement. Marcia, you've had a chance to look at this?
Yes.
Okay. And you have no changes, I'm assuming?
No.
Okay. So I'll make a motion, we approve the agreement between owner and contractor, between Columbia City and Fleming Excavating for Phase 3 Westgate Subdivision Roadway Reconstruction as presented.
A second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor should be the usual sign. It is unanimous, thank you. Next up is the employment training agreement for Mr. Valentic. And this is the police employment training agreement that they agree that if we're gonna invest in them, they're gonna stick around. So, any questions, comments, concerns about the employment training agreement?
No.
Mary? So So,
Gary?
so we didn't send Scott Valentech to the academy or anything, or we did it the first time. You passed that and got through it.
Previously.
This is for the public safety medical, because it costs like $2,500 now.
Yep.
So if he doesn't,
But it's only a 1 year, right? According to this, it says 1 year probate, oh wait, I'm sorry. The city has employed the police officer as a patrol officer first class with a 1 year probation period.
Yeah.
But it's still a 3-year agreement?
correct. So if he leaves within 3 years, he has to pay back the public safety medical.
Where does it say 3-year agreement? I'm just wondering where it says the 3-year agreement. I'm not
It
trying.
doesn't in this one. Hold on. This is what that'll be.
Yeah, the way number 2 reads, it makes it sound like it's a year.
I don't know. It doesn't say 3 years in there. It just says with a 1 year probationary
Mhm.
period.
That they have to reimburse, if they don't basically complete the 1 year probationary, or the probationary period, which previously it says 1 year, then then he has to. Well, are you okay with that, or do you want to change the agreement? I mean, he's been here before, so it's a little different than a normal Joe Schmo off the street we don't know, right? So, okay.
Plus, it's like, if you don't pay that probationary period, you have to pay that back.
Yeah, well, and that's ultimately what it is. And it's still 1 year from start date, right? You have any concerns, questions?
I know.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we approve the employment training agreement with Scott Valentick as presented.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign. It is unanimous. Okay, next up is bills.
All right.
Say what?
I make a motion to pay all accounts payable in the amount of $354,098.67 from the allowance of accounts payable vouchers dated May 26, 2026 for checks.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign. It is unanimous.
I'll make a motion to pay all accounts payable in the amount of $942,721.36 from the allowance of accounts payable vouchers dated May 26, 2026 for EFT payments.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign. It is unanimous.
And I'll make a motion to pay all accounts payable except overtime in the amount of $289,631.87, plus overtime in the amount of $17,433.60, for a total of $307,065.47 for the pay file ending May 15, 2026.
Second.
Motion seconded, further discussion. All those in favor show by the usual sign. It is unanimous. Thank you. Are you gonna stick around or are you coming back after council?
I'm sticking around so they can just do the report.
Okay, we will delay department head reports till later, unless anybody has anything specifically for Board of Works. Terry, Chip, Matt, Kelly, Tom? Yes or no?
I'm
You're
good.
Okay, Mike, Gary, okay. Marcia,
Nothing.
Leslie,
Nothing.
I'll report later, I guess. Dan?
Nothing.
Lisa?
Nothing.
We have no press. Anything from the audience for Board of Works? Okay, hearing none, then we will call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
We can postpone.